Hello, Winooski 5th grade. We are going to continue reading Macbee, Kid Spy, The Impossible Crime by Mac Barnett. We're going to pick up where most of us left off, Chapter 6. If your class was a little ahead, we will catch up to you very soon. Remind you that Mac was just asked by the Queen of England to stop a theft of the crown jewels that she suspects is coming up. Chapter 6, Bad Blood. "In 1671, said the Queen, a very bad man did a very bad thing. That man's name was Thomas Blood. He was known throughout England as Colonel Blood." "That's a pretty good name," I said. "Colonel Blood was a handsome man, and a smooth talker, a rebel, a kidnapper, an Irishman, and a secret agent for the King of England." "He was a lot of things," I said. "We are all a lot of things," said the Queen. "Another thing Blood was a jewel thief." Now, one day in 1671, Colonel Blood visited the Tower of London, disguised as a parson. "A parson?" I said. "A vicar," said the Queen. "A vicar?" "A priest." "Oh, okay," I said. "Blood brought with him a woman disguised as a parson's wife. This woman's name is lost to history, so I will just make one up for her. Wilhelmina." "Wilhelmina? Good name. Simple." I said. "Can you just make up a name in a true story?" I asked. "When you're the one telling the story, you can do whatever you want," said the Queen. "Now, Blood put his awful plan into motion. Standing in the Tower of London, before those wonderful treasures, crowns and scepters and orbs, Wilhelmina swooned and fell onto the floor." "Help!" cried Colonel Blood. "Someone, please help! My wife, Wilhelmina, has fainted dead away." The good Talbot Edwards, keeper of the crown jewels, rushed to her aid. He and Blood carried the woman upstairs to the keeper's apartments. Edwards called out to his wife, "Fetch this poor woman some spirits." On the couch, the patient fluttered her eyes and sat up straight. "Thank you, good sir. I believe you have saved my life." Colonel Blood clapped Edwards on the back. "How can I ever repay you?" "Oh, parson," said Edwards, "there is no need." But the next day Blood returned bearing gifts. "What kind of gifts?" I asked. "Wonderful gifts," said the Queen. "Gloves." "Gloves?" I said. "Gloves," said the Queen. I said. "The best gifts are those you can wear," said the Queen. No," I said. "The best gifts are those you can read, and with those you can play." "Like a bassoon," said the Queen. "No, like a Nintendo game," I said, "followed by those you can play with." "Like a nanny." "Like a super soaker, followed by those you can eat." "It seems you do a lot of thinking about gifts," said the Queen. I did. I still do. My mom also thought the best gifts were those you could wear, which is why I own 3 pairs of overalls and 0 super soakers. "Anyway," said the Queen, "Colonel Blood, disguised as the parson, gave Edwards the gloves." "Here, Mr. Edwards, a gift for your wife. Take these 4 pairs of gloves and—" "How many hands does this lady have?" I asked. "The more gloves, the better the gift," said the Queen. "Everybody knows that." The next day, Blood came back. "My friend, Edwards," Blood said, "I'd like to buy your collection of pistols." "My pistols?" Edwards said. "But they are worthless. I don't think these old guns should fetch very much money." But Blood thought Edwards' pistols and paid a lot of money for them. "Truly," said Edwards, "how my fortunes have changed since I met you, good parson. Just think, the man had sold his guns for great sums. He was swimming in gloves." Now, Edwards joked, if only someone would marry my daughter. Now it was time to spring the trap. Colonel Blood smiled. "Why, sir, I have a rich nephew," he said, "who is seeking a wife." "Uh-oh," I said. Old Mr. Edwards beamed at the news. "Well, Let us meet this young gentleman. Bring him to dinner. And so, one warm spring night, Colonel Blood and 2 men rode forth to the Tower of London. This is my handsome nephew, said Blood. And this other fellow here, with the mallets and sharp knives in his belt, he's my 3rd cousin, said Mrs. Edwards stood in the kitchen, humming a tune and preparing the supper. Young Miss Edwards was upstairs, trying on lovely dresses to look nice for her suitor. Perhaps, while we wait, said Blood, you might show my family the crown jewels. They would so like to see them. Oh no, I said. Oh yes, said the Queen. Poor Edwards was only too happy to do it. He fetched his keys and led the men downstairs, and when he unlocked the door to the jewel room, Colonel Blood threw his cloak over Edward's head. The men tied up the good keeper like a sheep in a sack, and then they hit him with mallets. That's awful, I said. It is history, said the Queen. And then they stabbed him. Oh, come on, I exclaimed. Colonel Blood hid a crown in the folds of his robe. His nephew stuffed a gold orb down the front of his trousers. I said, and the 3rd man set to sawing a scepter in half. Why? I asked. Well, so they would fit inside his trousers, said the Queen. But on the floor, under the cloak, battered and stabbed, Edwards cried out, Treason! Murder! The crown jewels are stolen! Guards swarmed to the towers. The thieves fled for the Thames. Fetch my pistols, cried Edwards. They're mounted up on the... Oh, no. Bam! Running for the river, Blood fired a pistol, probably one of Edwards, over his shoulders. But he and his band were tackled before they could get on their horses. And what do you think happened then? They cut off his head, I said. No, the king forgave Colonel Blood and gave him some nice land in Country Meath, Ireland. Nice country. But he tried to steal the king's stuff, I said. As I said the Queen, we are all of us a lot of things, some of them good, some of them bad. Yes, he was a thief, but the man had panache. Panache? Style and verve. Colonel Blood possessed swagger, and the king had a soft spot for scoundrels. Besides, the crown jewels were fine, a little dinged up, but they were repaired. The story ends happily. But what about Edwards, I asked. Oh, Edwards. The king gave him £300 for his troubles. That's it? I asked. He got stabbed. £300 was a lot of money back then. Although, now that you mention it, let me have a look at the royal checkbook. The Queen put on some glasses and dug through her purse. She pulled out a large book. Ah, well, would you look at that? It appears Edwards was never paid. Whoopsie. What? I said. This was before my time, said the Queen. Anyway, Edwards got a wonderful story, and isn't a good story the greatest treasure of all? I said. Chapter 7. Young Blood. A look of ultimate disbelief on my face. I can't believe it, I said. Well, it's true, said the Queen. You can look it up. I spiced up some of the dialogue, but everything happened, especially the things that are hard to believe. The part with the gloves? Yes, the part with the gloves. The part where the thieves put the jewels down their pants? The Queen grimaced. I mean, down their trousers? I said. Indeed, said the Queen. She looked at me meaningfully. Now, Mac, the robbery was attempted on May 9th. Okay, I said. She continued to look at me meaningfully. Why are you looking at me like that, I asked. She gestured to the wall, meaningfully. My eyes went to a calendar. Today is May 9th, I said. Indeed, said the Queen. I looked again at the letter. It's threatening red ink. It's been 318 years exactly, I said. And that is why, said the Queen, tonight Colonel Blood's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandson will try to steal the crown jewels again. Mac, you must stop him. Let's do this, I said. All right, friends, we will continue our story next week. I want you thinking about what might happen next. How might Mac try to stop the thieves from stealing the jewels? All right. Talk to you later, friends.